I used to manage a small clothing boutique downtown. It wasn't much, but it paid the bills and gave me something to do after my divorce. The place had a narrow front window, the kind that forced you to get creative with displays. My assistant, Mara, usually handled that part. She had an eye for arranging the mannequins in ways that drew people in. But after she quit suddenly, I had to take over myself. About 2 weeks after she left, the landlord dropped off a new mannequin. Said it came from storage, part of a liquidation lot from Shutter department store. It stood in the back room when I first saw it, taller than average, slightly yellowed from age, with a face that looked a little too defined. Most mannequins have that blank, smooth look, but this one had faint cheekbones, shallow lips, and eyelids molded halfway shut. Almost human. It was heavier than the others, too. I remember struggling to move it to the front, feeling the weight like it was resisting. I brushed it off as my imagination. The first time I dressed it, I hesitated for a second. Its surface wasn't quite smooth. There was a strange warmth to it, like it had been standing under sunlight, even though the storage room was cold. Once it was set up, though, it looked perfect. Its pose was simple, hands at its sides, head slightly tilted forward as if watching the street. Something about the posture seemed deliberate, not the usual fixed stillness of display mannequins. It gave the window life. That night, I stayed late doing inventory. I locked up around 9. The store was silent, except for the soft hum of the refrigerator in the break area. As I passed the window on my way out, I paused. The mannequin's head looked like it was turned slightly more toward the door. I couldn't be sure. It might have just been the angle of the streetlight through the glass. Still, I went back in, checked it. No movement. I laughed at myself and left. When I came back the next morning, the front window felt wrong. The mannequin was facing inward now, its head tilted down toward the store, staring into the space where I stood. I froze. The door was still locked. Nothing was disturbed. I called the landlord, asked if anyone else had keys. He said only me. He also said he'd never left a mannequin. He had no idea what I was talking about. That night, I took it out of the window and moved it to the storage room. I didn't like how it seemed to stare. I figured maybe I was overtired. But as I turned to leave the room, I swear I heard a faint exhale behind me, soft and steady. I stopped breathing myself, listening. Nothing. I left the lights on that night. The next day, the mannequin was back in the front window. I didn't move it there, and its mouth looked just a little bit open. The following week, I started keeping a record of everything strange that happened. It wasn't for anyone else, just for me, to make sure I wasn't losing it. Each night, I'd write down what I noticed. Day 1, mannequin moved slightly. Day 2, mannequin facing the door again. Day 3, faint sound from the storage room, like air being pushed through a vent. It wasn't a vent. I tried to convince myself there was a draft from somewhere, maybe between the old brick walls. But the air felt deliberate, long, deep breaths, drawn in and let out with pauses that matched human rhythm. I would stand near the front window after closing, watching the faint reflection of the mannequin's face. Sometimes, if I stared long enough, I could swear its chest rose just a little. I started avoiding the shop at night. I'd leave as soon as the sun set, but that didn't help. When I passed by on my way home, the lights inside flickered on by themselves. Once, as I looked through the glass, I saw the silhouette of the mannequin move just slightly, its head lowering as if to meet my gaze. I called Mara one night. She didn't pick up, so I left a message asking if she had ever noticed anything strange before she quit. She called back the next morning, whispering like she didn't want someone to hear. She said she quit because she'd come in early one day and found the mannequin not where she left it. She thought it was me playing a joke until she saw it move. She swore it shifted slightly as she stared at it. She never went back after that. I tried to throw it out. I dragged it to the alley behind the store and left it beside the dumpster. But when I came back inside, I found a trail of faint wet footprints on the floor leading from the back door toward the front. They stopped right at the window display. When I looked out again, the mannequin was standing there in the rain, staring in. Its glassy eyes seemed alive in the reflection of the streetlights. That night, I didn't sleep. Every time I blinked, I saw that pale face behind the glass, and I heard that slow, wet breathing, steady as a clock in the dark. Something about it was changing. It wasn't just the head movement or the posture anymore. Its skin or whatever material it was made of looked softer now, less plastic, more like flesh stretched too tightly. And when I opened the store the next morning, there was condensation on the inside of the window. A foggy smear, like something had breathed against the glass. I decided to get rid of it for good. A friend offered to help me take it to the dump. We loaded it into the back of his truck, tied it down, and drove out of town. The whole time, I kept looking back at it. The tarp we'd thrown over it kept lifting slightly, like something was moving underneath. My friend said it was the wind. I didn't argue. We threw it into a landfill pit and left. I didn't look back. That night, the store alarm went off. When I got there, the front window was shattered. Glass all over the floor. Nothing was missing except the mannequin was back, standing in the middle of the room. Its head was tilted backward now, and its mouth was fully open. The smell inside the store was unbearable, like something old and wet and buried had been dragged out from the ground. I called the police, but when they arrived, the mannequin was gone. They said it was probably a prank. I could tell they didn't believe what I'd seen. For days, I thought maybe I'd imagined the whole thing. Maybe the stress, the long hours, the loneliness, it all built up into some kind of breakdown. Then one morning, as I was restocking a shelf, I noticed the reflection again. Not of me, but of something behind me, tall and pale. I turned fast, but there was nothing. The reflection didn't vanish, though. It lingered for a moment, and I saw its face clearly. It wasn't a mannequin anymore. The features were sharper, skin damp, and slightly translucent, as if stretched thin over veins that pulsed faintly beneath. Its mouth opened and closed slowly, like it was practicing breathing. The moment I blinked, the reflection was gone. But when I looked down, I saw fingerprints on the glass shelf. Long, narrow ones. Too detailed to be from plastic hands. The next day, I found a folded piece of paper on the floor near the front window. My name was written on it, faintly, in smeared gray lines. Inside were only 4 words, "You left me there." I shut the store down that night. But I couldn't leave, because even after I turned off the lights and locked the door, I heard that same slow breathing again, this time from just behind the glass. It wasn't alone anymore. I could hear several breaths, soft, overlapping. When I shined a light into the window, I saw shapes half-formed, pale, and twitching, reflected in the glass. They were all mannequins once, and they were all moving. I haven't opened the store in a week. People walk by and see the sign that says closed for renovation, but the truth is I'm too afraid to go inside. I've been staying in the back office, sleeping on the floor, because I can't bear to leave it unattended. The mannequins are changing. Not just the one, the others too. Their surfaces are softening, warping. The air smells like damp plaster and salt. Sometimes when I walk past the front display, I can hear faint cracking sounds, like something shifting beneath the surface. 2 nights ago, I gathered the courage to touch one. Its arm felt warm. When I pressed my hand against it, I could feel something faint beneath, like the slow rhythm of a heartbeat. There's something inside them, something trying to get out. I've started to notice small things missing, scissors, tape, spare buttons, and then I find them later, embedded halfway into the mannequin's skin as if the surface had swallowed them. The breathing is constant now, always there, just beneath the noise of the city. I tried to film it once, to capture proof. But when I reviewed the footage, the screen showed only static except for one frame. A single still image of the mannequin's face, its eyes open, its lips curled into what looked like a smile. I think it knows I'm watching. Last night, as I lay on the floor, I heard movement from the front room. The sound of footsteps, slow dragging. I stayed perfectly still listening. The breathing grew closer until it was just outside the office door. Then it stopped. The door handle moved once, gently like someone testing it. I didn't move, didn't breathe. After a few minutes, it went quiet again. When morning came, the handle was slick with moisture, and written on the floor in a thin, dripping line was another message. We remember how to breathe. Part 5, the last display. I can't tell how many days it's been. The light outside never looks the same anymore. The windows are fogged from the inside, and the air is thick with that rotten, sweet smell. The mannequins aren't mannequins anymore. They've taken on something new, something closer to life, but not right. Their skin looks like wax, but when the light hits it, it shimmers like wet flesh. They formed a circle around the center of the shop. Their faces are all tilted slightly toward me, their chests rising and falling in perfect unison. I tried to leave, but the front door won't open. When I pressed against it, something pushed back from the other side. It's not just the mannequins now. The walls themselves breathe. The floor pulses faintly, like there's something beneath it, something large and slow, inhaling and exhaling. The air feels alive. I think I know what they are. They're not mannequins at all. They're remnants. Shells. People who were taken before me, filled with something else. Something that remembers what it's like to be human. I can feel it watching from beneath my skin. Every time I close my eyes, I see flashes of pale faces submerged in darkness, mouths open, trying to draw air that isn't there. The longer I stay, the harder it is to breathe on my own. I hear them whispering now, not words, just the sound of breath forming almost sentences. They want me to join the display, to stand among them and breathe as they do. The last time I looked into the window's reflection, I didn't see myself anymore. I saw one of them, my posture stiff, my eyes half closed, my lips slightly parted. When I exhaled, the reflection exhaled a second later, as if learning from me. I can't move much now. My skin feels heavier each hour, harder, less responsive. My chest rises and falls, but I don't think it's me doing it anymore. The air moves in and out, steady, controlled. Something inside me is remembering. The mannequins have gathered closer. One of them has its hand on my shoulder. I can feel its warmth seeping into me, spreading slowly through my body. I can hear the faint crack of something breaking beneath my ribs. I think it's my last breath leaving. If someone finds this, don't come to the store. Don't look in the window, no matter what you see. If it's raining, if the lights are flickering, if you think you see movement inside, keep walking. They only need one more. And I think they've learned how to breathe without me.